Hey friends, welcome back to this channel. My name is Stacy with Stacy Makes. If you are new here, thank you for joining us, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. We do cozy crochet content here, and I'm going to try to take this with minimal editing this morning because I have limited time. So if you watched my video last week, you saw that I am prepping for the fall. Pretty much have no more shows this summer. And my next big show is the beginning of September. And then every few weeks we have a pretty decent sized show, including some very large ones we've never done before. When I say we, I mean me and my daughter, Tara, with Old Soul Factory, because we do our markets together. She also crochets and has a YouTube channel if you want to check her out. So I'm prepping for fall, and I made an inventory plan last week, you guys, trying to stay focused. I don't do very good at that. I'm starting with $2,463 worth of inventory from my spring makes and shows. I want to make 50 keychains, 30 things for my $5 bin, 20 things for my $8 and $10 bin each, 15 things for my $12 bin, and $1,200 worth of inventory in my medium to large category, which is $15 to $40. So this week I started off my Sunday. I'm going to walk through everything that I did make this week and where I landed in my goals. But we're also going to go over 2 new patterns that I tried this week. I put up a poll on YouTube and asked out of these 4 patterns that I've never tried that I had already bought, what you guys wanted to see. And overwhelmingly 2 of those won, and I made those this week. So I will show them to you first and talk about those patterns. And then I will talk about all the stuff I made this week, including some pattern designing that I did and a tester call that is currently out right now for a new pattern that I'm releasing next weekend. So I got a little distracted with that. Sometimes when creative juices flow and you get an idea, it just has to come out of your brain and through your hook and into a design, and it has to be done. So I got a little sidetracked this week, and it probably will happen for a few weeks because I have, now that my brain is on this mode of this pattern shape and design, it's like I need to make it in every single animal. So let's start with something that I did make this week that does not go in my inventory, but it had to be done, which was a custom order that I took back in April, I think it was end of April, for a local who had has a grandbaby on the way, and they have this vintage sewn bear that they loved, and she's been looking for a crocheted type version of it because the actual sewn bear itself is very, very expensive, like $300 or $400. And so she saw my Finley the frog and the way it sits, and was like, can you make this frog but with a bear head on it? And I'm like, I actually have a bear pattern. So I showed her the bear pattern head, and she's like, that would be perfect. She picked out a color. I took her money at that show, so it has already been prepaid. And I'll show you what I came up with. So this is the bear. This is the body, legs, and arms and legs of Finley the frog, except for I did shorten the arms 1 row. I used the puffy tail from the teddy bear pattern, which is crochet code AU. I believe, if I'm not right or wrong, I'll put it on the screen for you. And this is the head from the crochet code pattern, just the way it is written as well. And except for I did, I embroidered the eyes and the mouth obviously on this, and I used the tail from that pattern. So I already collected the money for this, and I'm going to make sure that this goes out to her. I did follow a tutorial by April from the Cozy Buckeye for the eyes. First time I'd ever done it using burlap blanket. I really like it. So anyway, made this week, but I'm not counting it in my inventory totals. So that did take up actually 2 full nights because I was delayed with some meetings and things this week as well. And so it took, I think, my Monday and my Tuesday. So it was just, but it had to be done. I needed to get it out of my way because I felt it on my shoulders, and I needed to be relieved of that one thing I had to do that wasn't on my list of things I wanted to do. So not that I didn't want to do it, but anyway. Okay, let's get on to the new patterns that I tried this week. I actually tried 3 new patterns. I'll show you first. Pico the Chameleon. You guys voted for this one in the YouTube poll. This is Pico in Sweet Snuggles Light. This is like the corally color and the agave. Cute pattern. It works up pretty quickly. It is completely no-sew. You do tack the tail. So you make the tail long and then you roll it and you tack it. I don't know if you can see it very good. There we go. I chose these greeny yellow glitter eyes for him. He did not take that long, about 40 minutes maybe, and maybe 45, and it was the first time I had made him. I'm going to put him in I'm going to price him at 15, which makes him go into my medium category, 15 to 24. No qualms with this pattern. Super easy to read. I had 0 issues with it. And my legs actually lined up fairly well. I usually have to adjust some single crochets, but the legs lined up well. I felt like the head lined up fairly well with the body, and I think he turned out cute. I will likely make this again. I don't know. I think I might just make this one and see how he does, because I went on a gecko making spiel and I've made like 5 of those at $15 and I've only sold 1 of them, so I also have those to sell. So anyway, cute pattern by the Fox Den Mom Life. And I'll put all the links down in the descriptions for these. So that was the first one that I tried. Super cute. And then I did Della the Duck. Everyone probably does not recognize Della without the headband. There is a acrylic headband that you tie up here that is really, really cute. I don't believe I'm going to make. I think I'm just going to leave him plain. I thought about making like a little chain, just a chain headband that kind of tied in a bow, but I think I'll leave him plain so that he can go girl, boy, whichever direction. Cute pattern. You make the head down to the body is all one piece, and the body is worked in a snuggler where there's no stuffing, and it is half double crochets, so it goes pretty quickly. And then you do a surface crochet and crochet out for the bill, which is something I've done before and pretty simple. The wings are made with a half double crochet, you know, magic ring and sewn on. So you do have to sew those on. And then the feet, duck feet just get a little complicated if you've ever made a duck that has these correct side or shaped feet. But I had done that before, so it wasn't hard for me. It may be a little complex for somebody that's new, but it's not horribly difficult. It is basically a magic ring that works out, and then it's a surface crochet and you work up. You surface crochet a circle and then you work the leg part up from there. If you can see kind of the stem of the leg part here, and then you sew these on as well. So super cute pattern. I enjoyed this. I don't know that it took me probably an hour and a half to make, and without the headband it's probably not as cute as the headband. Just really is what drew me to the pattern, and I should probably just make the headband. But I had a hard time with this eye placement, because you have to make a decision about where these eyes go and getting this stuffing done before this beak goes on. And I actually, when I was reading the pattern, couldn't decide if I was making the head in this orientation or if I was making it in this orientation. So I really had to look at the pictures to figure that out, which obviously it's this way. And then when it talks about there's some increases right here and those are on either side of the beak, I'm like, okay, it's this way. And I even had to look at the pictures again because it just didn't seem right. But either way, I figured it out, put the eyes on it. I probably put them a little too far apart. I would have maybe liked them a little bit better if they were like right in here. But cute pattern, super adorable with the headband. I'll put a picture of the actual pattern thing up here so you can see what I'm talking about with the headband, because it is adorable and it's everywhere right now. So I'm going to price Della at $30. And so she goes in my medium and large category as well with Pico. So, okay, so let's talk about other things that I made that went towards my inventory goal. This is another new pattern that I did try. This is Finley the Fish. It's loved. Sorry, I have notes down here. Looped with Love AU. I have them upside down. There we go. It is a paid pattern on Etsy, I believe, but there is a free tutorial on YouTube that Innocent Teddies does, which again, I'll link all of that below in the description. I used my gumdrop yarn for this guy. I did not let it transition where it wanted. I had all my gumdrop yarn in a tote, and I transitioned it myself and picked the colors that I wanted out of the different balls that I was working with. So anyway, cute pattern. It was fairly simple. You do go back and surface crochet the fins, both of them, and the side fins on, which these side fins are optional. The tail is made in with the body. So when you do surface crochet, although it's, not sewing something on, there is 2 tails for every surface crochet you do, and you do that with 4 different pieces if you do all of the fins. So I had 8 tails to weave in, tie off, hide into the body. So that's when there's more than just a few, that kind of probably deters me from making this again as far as a $10 make, which is, I feel like, the size that it probably warrants. He's, compared to my hand, he's about the size of the palm of my hand. Anyway, cute pattern though. I was glad I tried it. I'm not saying that he's totally off of the table. He would be cute maybe in a jumbo sized yarn as well. Like, this is a size 6 yarn, a really small size 6 with Premier gumdrop, which is similar to Sweet Snuggles Light. And if you made him in a jumbo yarn, and he was probably almost twice as large and took you the same amount of time, and maybe you didn't do the bottom fin, I think that you could probably get away with charging more of what it takes for time wise, at more like 15 if he's is definitely bigger. So maybe something to keep in mind if you're thinking about adding a fish to your market inventory. So I'm going to do 10 for him, so he goes in my $10 bin category. I did make these 2 mini ducks. One does look a little crazy because I was watching Victoria from Comfort Loops Friday night on her live, and I was making this one after I had finished Della, and I got all the way done, closed it all up, and I'm like, oh yeah, it needs eyeballs. So I went back and just made, and it's hard to make tiny eyeballs, and I didn't want to make sleepy ones, so he is what he is. He looks a little nuts, but then I made one that was more of the correct size. This is I think this is a pattern that I ended up kind of freehanding after I found a free one on Instagram. So I don't know that I don't have a link for this one, but I'll make sure and post it if I do. So anyway, keychains, 2 keychains. They're 6, and then I made this whale from Jade's pattern that will also go in my keychain category. So I made 3 of the 50 keychains. And then I also, while I had the gumdrop out, made 2, excuse me, I made 2 baby turtles. I sometimes switch up the size of the eyes and where the eyes go, but I made 2 baby turtles that go in my $8 bin. So if you watched my last video, these are free on Instagram, but these sold completely out, plus all the ones that I made while I was at the show. I think I came home with one that I made at the very end. So I'm restocking these in my $8 bin category. So it's 2 for my $8 bin. And then I got on a pattern kick. So I had an idea in my brain, and it, again, like I said, I had not had ideas since I made Pepper the Skunk. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, I need an animal that sits like this, is shaped like this, that is quick like this, and so on. I obviously did my research to make sure that there wasn't anything, I mean, the crochet world is just so full of amazing designers and shapes and patterns that you're probably going to find something similar. It's just what you depend, kind of like, what do you think is similar, not similar. I didn't go look at someone's pattern and take it and change one little thing and then call it mine. I designed a pattern, and then I go look and make sure that nobody has one that's very, very similar to it already. and especially in the same animals. I look at other shapes of animals, especially if you're going to make it in all different types of animals. That's just some of the research that I do, which I talked about in another YouTube video that I have out. When I do pattern design, I kind of treat it kind of like pattern design, which is, it has to be a couple steps away from what somebody else is doing. And it has to have something unique about it that makes it yours. So this was my first draft of Gordon the Gator. And this is Parfait Chunky in the seaweed salad limited edition color. What I was looking for was something fairly flat bottomed that would sit, and that when he was sitting his legs would dangle, and that he would have a a kind of a tubular body that just sat well, and simple arms though, and that his head shape would be from the front to the back of the head, because sometimes when you're doing everything no sew and you're working all the way up from the bottom, it's really hard to get, like, look at these angles that he has on his head. It's not impossible. It's just a little more difficult, especially in something so small, to just not make it look like a blob. And to get the real definition of, like, his chin here, and then his snout here, and so on. So, and then this was my first draft. I did the tail differently, and it's off-centered. You can see there, trial and error. I did change the way I did the tail on the final pattern. That is with testers right now. It should release next weekend. But this is Gordon the Gator. This is the very first draft. You can see his little toes. He's got 3 little things on his toes. He's got little eye bumps behind his eyes. And then he's got these nostrils, and you make those in the round, and you can kind of like set them up where they kind of shape out like that. And so it is low sew, and that you have to sew the head to the body, and that is it. So the rest of the pieces are all sewn into the round. So my first Gordon, I am going to go ahead and try to sell him. So he's going into my inventory at $20, simply because he's smaller than my other ones, because he's Parfait Chunky, but he's also got his little tails kind of off-centered. So that was my first one. And then came the final draft. This is Sweet Snuggles Light. I changed a little bit about the way the legs, one more stitch over so that the toes faced more forward. I added more round and stuffing at this eye shape right here. I did more face shaping on his face, and I did a more of a flat tail sewn into the round instead of doing, I had left a gap on that one and tried to sew single crochet out, which is not my favorite method either, but I thought it was going to be what I needed to do. But in this case, I'm like, he can just be flat. So here was my second try at this pattern, and I was really happy with this one. So I wrote this one up, and it's out with testers. And then before I completely sent the pattern out to testers, I made another one in Sweet Snuggles Light. So this is also the exact same pattern in Sweet Snuggles Light, but a multi. Same exact hook size, and this just shows you the difference, if you can tell the difference in the weight sometimes of the exact same yarn. I think, so this multi, I mean, these are 5.5 millimeter hooks on both of these, and this one definitely, to me, looks a little bit bigger. So, but anyway, I added the spines or osteoderms or scutes, whatever you want to call them, back down his ridges, down his back, as an option in the pattern, which you kind of start right before the tail hits the body, and then you curve it up, and then you end it right before he gets to his eyes, in the back of his head. Everything else is exactly the same as far as all the other pieces was the same as this one, and the same yarn. So in this one, you know, I can make these now that I've made 3. Really, I can make this in just over an hour. I could probably get a little bit faster if I wasn't also, I was still checking my pattern in every little detail before it went out to testers when I was doing this one even, and then I was developing this spine design. So I think I can do it in an hour. And again, all you do is sew the head onto the body, which is nice. There are pieces, but they're sewn into the round. So So this is Gordon the Gator. So hopefully by next week's video, he'll be released on Saturday is my plan, Friday or Saturday. I think Friday, actually, July 5th is what I've got down and written down for a hopeful release date. So super cute. I'm excited about Gordon and his little dangly legs, and I have got a bajillion other ideas, which I'm going to do 22 on these. So they went into my inventory under my medium large category. And then I'm working on this one, which I'm not going to turn her around, but this is obviously a pig, and I think this will be my next animal in my collection. You can see me real quick. Okay, really quick, because she still needs space and head work for sure. So and she doesn't have a name. The pig does not have a name, and she's also she's good enough to go into my inventory, but it's definitely not my final pattern draft, and she's going to be $22 as well. So I ended this week with one new pattern design completely done and out to testers, which was the success. Another pattern design that is probably one head modification away from being ready as well as a whole list of other patterns, which, you know, when you're running, let me finish this other thought first. So I finished this week with pattern designs, which is great, some inventory, which is wonderful. Not as much inventory as I wanted. If you watched my video last week, I wanted to average around $250 every week to try to hit my goal. I did 175 this week is my total with everything. I did make the $50 bear, but he is already sold, so I don't get to count that in my inventory, so I only have 175. I put 3 into my keychain category out of 50, which leaves 47. I put 2 in my $8 bin category out of 20, which leaves 18. I put 1 in my $10 bin, which leaves 19 of those to make. And my medium large category currently is just $1,200 is what I have down, which I've got 86 plus the 30. I have $116 going into that category this week. So that's where I landed this week at. So hopefully I've got plans. I've got some things that are half done that I'm not going to show you because I don't count them until they are completely done in my inventory. But I do have some granny square pouches that are half done that I'm hoping to do this week. And then I started on a Fred the Turtle. So you'll see Fred the Turtle in next week's video, I'm sure, in my medium large inventory, because I have 0 Freds left. And so I definitely need to make 4 to 8 of those. So I think that's all as far as what I made this week. I do want to just address one more little thing that has been on my heart lately, that I'm watching. I watch a lot of YouTube videos for other people. I watch a lot of non-crochet, not a lot, but I watch some non-crochet YouTubers and follow them on Instagram. I watch a ton of crochet fiber artist YouTubers, and I follow them on Instagram. Excuse me, that's something in my throat. I'm a 40-something year old mother of 5 children. I have five kids, all mine. I've been married for 26 years. They are ranging from 14 to 25 now. At one point, they were newborn to 11, and my house was, you know, it was a busy place, and it was a busy time. And some of it is just a blur at this point because it was such a crazy time in my life. But when I had baby number 3, my middle son, so I go boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. But when I had my third baby, which is my son, my middle son, I decided to stay home. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about work-life balance, kid-life balance. So I decided to stay home, and I was going to babysit. And so we did all the math, and we did not have a lot of money. But when you have baby number 3 and you have a newborn, and I had a 4 and a 5-year-old, so they're in daycare part-time. I have one that's getting ready to go into kindergarten, but you know, be off before school. You know, school's going to get out before I was going to be off work, and we have well baby checkups. Kids get sick. You know, kids. I mean, our life was getting ready to get so busy with the children that it was going to make it very difficult for me to steadily show up at my job, do a good job parenting, and just and be present and sane. So my husband and I did a lot of math. We did a lot of canceling some satellite and, sticking with an old car that got my husband to work. He rode a bike 4 blocks to work for many, many years. So that's just that much less gas that we were paying for. And so we really pared down our budget so that I could stay home. But I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I needed to make something. His income was going to be enough to pay the bills and do the very, very, very bare minimum. And as any parents know, there are things that always come up. There's a medical bill. There's a thing at the school that we need $20 for. There's shoes don't fit, clothes need to be. So I needed to make some kind of money in order to do the extras, which is buy new clothes, buy school supplies, pay for the medical bills, extra groceries when we were the snack people, whatever that might have been. And so I was going to babysit. So when my son was about 6 weeks old, I babysat part-time into my home. I had 2 boys that I babysat and 1 girl that was part-time. And I did that for a while, and it was okay. I would not say that babysitting is my passion. I absolutely love children. But between taking care of a newborn who was breastfeeding at the time and 2 other kids, and then having these 2 kids in my house, and it was trying to get them to nap and do what I needed them to do, but then still take care of my other children was just, I'm like, I did not do it for very long before I'm like, I got to find some other way to make money. This short story is going to turn into a very long story. Sorry about that. But anyway, so I bought a company. I bought a very, very, very small work at home or stay at home mom's business called Bottom Bumpers. She made fitted cloth diapers. I was using cloth diapers too to save money. That was another thing that we did so that we didn't have to buy diapers. I was going to breastfeed and I was going to buy cloth diapers. And we did. I cloth diapered all 3 of my last children. So I bought this company. She was hand dyeing, making fitted diapers, which if you know, the fitted diaper can be washed and dried in the washing and drying machine, but needs a cover on it. And then she made these bibs that were amazing, that had fleece on the back and cotton in the middle and super absorbent. She was hand dyeing the outsides, which made them unique and one of a kind. And she was sewing them all together, and it was her pattern. So I bought all the patterns, and I bought the dyes and materials and stuff off of her. I bought her website, her logo, and all this thing. And it was an investment that I put on a credit card, because I was just like, if I can spend this money and I can turn this into something that sustains more of an income, and then just get the credit card paid off. And it was just a couple $1,000s, but it was a lot at the time, and it was a big decision to make, So I bought the business. I learned how to make what she was making, and then I stayed at home for 11 years. I ran Bottom Bumpers, which got large. My family joined it. We ended up having like 6 part-time employees at one time that were making diapers for us, snapping diapers. I had 3 embroidery machines. We were making embroidery collections. I was going to the ABC Kids Trade Show in Las Vegas every year for 4 or 5 years in a row. We were wholesaling them. We were retailing them. I had my own boutique I opened on the side for Apple Tree Boutique. I had an actual store where I was doing embroidery. I had kids' toys and bibs, and Apple Tree became the bibs and the burp cloths, and I sewed other things for that business as well. And it helped with my creativity, and it was an outlet. I needed the outlet, and I also needed the money. So I managed all of my kids, my household, my business, and there was a lot. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do, but it afforded me the flexibility to be with my children. So, and the creativity part of my business, I loved. So I guess my point of all of that is, I know what it feels like to try to balance being everything to everybody all the time. And it's still, even to this day, at this very moment, not easy. It's getting a little easier because my children are more independent. But I, for many, many years, was trying to be the best mom, the best wife, the best business owner. I was being the best designer. I was managing everything from I mean, I was the household manager. You know, if you are also the main household and financial manager, you are managing all of the money, you are managing all of the grocery lists, you are planning all of the meals, you are making sure everyone stays on a routine, that everyone gets to their appointments, that everyone gets to their practices. And then on the side, I am designing and I'm replying to emails and I'm trying to keep up with social media. And it is a grind. It is a grind that I absolutely loved, but in some, like I said, some ways it is a blur. But when my kid was sick, I was there. When my kid needed to, to stay home or needed to run to something, or I needed to be flexible because somebody needed me, I had that, and it afforded me that opportunity to work, be creative, but also to raise my kids when they were little. And it is an experience that I would not take back. I would not change any of that. That time that I spent with them was worth every single late night. So also another point in there is that don't beat yourself up. You are never, it is just so hard. It's mom guilt. I call it mom guilt. You feel guilty when you're not with your kids. But with your kids, you feel guilty that you're not doing the household chores. When you're doing the household chores, you feel guilty that you're not doing, your social media. You're not doing enough stuff for your market. You're not doing enough things for this. You're putting a screen in front of a kid so that you can just get a little bit of time to be creative for yourself. You feel guilty when you take any time for yourself, including trying to crochet, trying to just, read a book, trying to relax, trying to find some time to decompress. And I know how that feels, and what you need to just do is you're just doing your best. You are doing what you can with what you have at the time, but do not neglect your own self-care when you do this. Make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure that you know what order the priority goes in. For you, if that is your family, your husband, your work, whatever it might be, like, make sure that you're prioritizing the things that matter. Your kids are only little for a small amount of time, and it is amazing talking to even my older kids, the impact that some of the stuff that I did when they were younger had on them, good and bad, right? You are going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, but you will have tried and you will have done the best that you could with what you had at the time. And that's what you can do. And that's okay. And if you don't get enough things done to try to sell at the market, that's okay. If your kid needed you because he was sick and they was just extra clingy that week and his routine was thrown off and he needed mom to read to him every single night, and that extra half an hour for 5 nights in a row took away from your crochet time, I get it. We also need that time for ourselves, and sometimes we steal it from our sleep. And sleep's important. It's hard to pour from an empty cup, guys. So just remember that, to take a deep breath, that you are doing what you can with what you, and the fact that you care and the fact that you have guilt shows that you care. It shows that you're trying the best that you can. It shows that you are, obviously your heart and your soul is put into everything that you do, and that you are trying to show up. Just don't forget to show up for yourself and to do what you need to for yourself. For me, my kids are very independent now. My job can be stressful. The creativity from crochet helps me get through the day, but what it also does is this. So I'm still a household manager. I'm still the appointment manager. I'm still the financial manager. I'm still the grocery meal planning manager. I'm still then at work a manager. And then I'm also the owner and manager of a business. And my brain has a hard time shutting down. If I go on a walk, my brain just, if I try to ride my bike, my brain, if I try to take an extra long shower, my brain still, it runs. But when I sit and crochet, and some of you probably relate to this in knitting, you relate to this in when you read a book, maybe some other craft, there is a focus but yet mindlessness that goes into crochet for me, that like I'm sitting and I'm doing, but I also feel like I'm doing something of a purpose, because then I'm then turning that thing that I was doing into some money. So it's like there's less guilt, but I also get a chance to turn my brain off and to create something with my hands that brings me joy, but then also can bring me money. And so it's just this dual purpose self-love that just, and I've come to realize that that's why I'm so obsessed with it, is because it's the one time that like, and I need that. I need it now just as much as I needed it then, when I used to sit at a sewing machine and sew hours and hours and hours. But yet my brain would still kind of run when I would do that a little bit, would think about all the things I should be doing instead of sewing. So if that's the kind of piece that you find in crocheting, don't feel guilty about the times that you do spend 30 minutes here, an hour here, doing this craft, because I understand, and a lot of us understand, that this craft helps you decompress. It helps shut your mind down from the world. It helps you turn off all of the management things that are going on in your brains, and it just lets you create and then feel a purpose. And it's something that you do that's a huge, for me anyway, it's a huge self-care, self-love thing that I do for myself. So I do feel a little guilty sometimes when it becomes something that ends up more on the selfish end of things, because I'm saying no to stuff that maybe I probably should do with my kids, because instead of crocheting, because I don't have to crochet. So there's a balance there too, that it doesn't take over too much, and then I still participate, in life. But anyway, that was a super long story, and but I just wanted to speak to those people out there that might be having a hard time finding that balance. Can't pour from an empty cup, okay? Crochet is a form of decompression and self-love and care for you. Then don't ever feel guilty for it, okay? And you are doing the best that you can with what you have at this time, the skills that you have, the time that you have, the money that you have, and to keep doing that. But the days are long. It is, you trudge through, you get through, and some days you end up just a hot mess with spit all over you, and you not had a shower, and you smell, and you didn't get a chance to just get anything down off of your list because you're mothering all day, whatever that might look like for you. But you turn around and boom, a year is gone, and so it really just, it goes so fast, guys. So enjoy it. You only get one chance to do that parenting that you need to do to make those impacts on your kids' life while they're little. So do those things, be intentional about them, but then also don't feel bad about taking the time that you need to decompress and create. So sorry, that was a very long spiel. I don't know if I'll even keep it in this video, because it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with what this video was originally about, which is what I made this week, but it was something that was on my heart. So I just felt like I needed to tell y'all. So relate or not relate to that, let me know down in the comments below, if you're excited about Gordon the Gator, maybe what other animals that you'd love to see in that same style. Also, let me know down in the comments if you have questions about how I balanced my work life stuff with my children when they were younger. I'm welcome to answer all those things. Obviously, you have to find what works for you and your family and your situations, but I mean, I'm more than happy to speak more about it if somebody wants to. Hopefully you guys can relate to that in some form or fashion. I thank you so much for being here for the crochet content. I'm sure not the little TED talk about work-life balance with kids, but I do appreciate you showing up here, and it helps keep me motivated to come here. And I definitely did not get to a live this last week because I was in the depths of pattern designing, and I still didn't get all the stuff made that I wanted to make, but a live is definitely on my plan this week, probably for Tuesday. So right now that's what I'm thinking, is Tuesday night. I'll get that scheduled. I appreciate you guys. Comment, ask questions below, like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of my content in the future. I appreciate you being here. You guys have a great week. I think that's all I have. You're doing a great job. Happy crocheting. See you guys.